Hello, good day. Welcome to day 13 of the 30-day money course. Today, we're going to be discussing all about debt, and I'm going to share with you the two types of debt that I believe there are. But first, I am Elizabeth Buko. I am the hostess here of the 30-day money course, and I'm also the founder of Wealth from Little. So I said there are two types of debt, and these are the two ways I classify debt. One is income producing debt, and sometimes people call this good debt. And the other is income consuming debt. And sometimes people call this bad debt. But I don't necessarily believe in debt being good or bad. I just believe that sometimes it can produce an income for you and sometimes it can consume your income from you. So income producing debt is debt that you might go into in which you're borrowing money that you do not have to create some kind of asset. So you're borrowing money that you do not have to buy property, for example. You're borrowing money that you do not have to invest in business, for example, because you are sure that with backable and researchable certainty that you are going to make the money back from that asset. What I mean is if you buy property in an area that you know is going to rise in value, then you can say, okay, I've borrowed a mortgage for this property, and I know that it will continue to rise in value. I know there's a demand for rental properties in this area. There's always going to be a demand for houses. So therefore, I'm going to always be able to produce an income from this property. Investing in something borrowing money to invest in something that you are not sure that it's going to produce an income for you is pure gambling. Now, I'm not talking about gambling. The other type of debt, the other type of debt is income consuming debt. Now, this is when you borrow money that you do not have and you spend it on things that consume your income. They do not produce an income for you. If what they do is they take more of the income that you are going to produce for yourself. So if you spend money on your credit card to buy food, buy clothes, buy consumables, then you are engaging in income consuming debt. If you spend money to go on that you do not have to go on a holiday, you might be contributing to income consuming debt unless that holiday is going to create some form of income for you. If you spend money that you do not have to buy a car, that you might need a car, and with cars it's a bit, there's a little bit of understanding there, because if you live in an area where there is no public transport, you might actually need a car to get to and from work, or where you're going to move around and to make a living. However, it's important that you buy a car that you can afford. Now, if you can't afford any car and you have to go into debt to buy a car, you want to buy a car with repayments that you can afford. And not just the maximum repayments that you can afford, one that you can comfortably afford. So that a car that does the job and has reasonable repayments. So you don't want to buy a car that is going to break down tomorrow, but you don't want to buy a car that is much bigger than your budget. Now, if you decide to invest in, or if you decide to buy a status car because you would like to look a certain way, because you want to maintain your lifestyle, you want to medicate your lifestyle per se, then you might be engaging in unnecessary income consuming debt, because you will pay a lot more for a car that is going to depreciate anyway once you start driving it. So it's very important to check that. Now, for today, I want you to look through all your debts and think and see to yourself, if you do have any debts, see to yourself, are these debts income producing or are they income consuming? And break them into two groups: income producing on the left and income consuming on the right. Now, of your income consuming debt, like things on your credit card, if you have loans that are income consuming, I want you to look through them and figure out what are the monthly repayments, what are the minimum monthly repayments, what's the interest rate, and how much do you currently pay. So I want you to write down what's the minimum required, the interest rate, and how much you currently pay. right? It's important that we are always striving to pay way more than the minimums on our, on income consuming debt, because the interest is going to keep driving that debt to keep growing faster than you can pay it off. And then with your income producing as well, I want you to also write down the interest rates of the debt, how much the minimums are and how much you are currently repaying. And based on how much you're currently repaying, I want you to see if you can calculate when you would finally be debt free. If you keep on paying the minimums, when you would finally be debt free. And there are quite a few debt-free calculators on Google if you do not know how to do this calculation yourself, but try and just figure out what that debt-free date will be. So that's where we'll stop for today, and we will continue in day 14. At the end of, once you have tabulated your debts, I want you to send me an email saying day 13 done. Right, day 13 done. Now you know exactly if your debt is income producing or income consuming. And you know if it is income consuming or income producing, you know what the minimums are, you know what the percentage is, the percentage interest is, and you know how much you are currently repaying. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.